Someone sent me a question about James 5, 19 and 20, the last two verses of the book of James. To them, it seems like this is something that disproves the idea of once saved, always saved, or some variation of it. Brethren, if anyone among you wanders from the truth and someone turns him back, let him know that he who turns a sinner from the error of his way will save a soul from death and cover a multitude of sins. At face value, anyone among you wandering from the truth, and the question would be, is that a Christian brother, or is that someone that's just among the number who may or may not be saved? That's going to be the area of contention. If you turn that person back to the truth, which kind of does seem to indicate you're turning someone who's in the truth back to the truth, let him know that he who turns a sinner from the error of his way will save a soul from death and cover a multitude of sins. So either this is a non-Christian brother and you're bringing him back from sin and judgment and death, just basic evangelism or conversion, or they'll say that this is a brother who's in error, who might be in danger of physical death, but you're bringing them back. If you have once saved, always saved in your brain, then any passage is either a warning against physical death or a warning against some sort of loss of reward or something along those lines. Because once you have it in your mind, it can't be loss of salvation. That's how it has to be approached. Now I got my wires crossed at first because I was thinking of 1 John 5, the sin unto death, and how people view that passage. 1 John 5:16 says, if anyone sees his brother sinning a sin which does not lead to death, he will ask, and he will give him life for those who commit sin not leading to death. There is a sin leading to death. I do not say that he should pray for that. All unrighteousness is sin, and there is a sin not leading to death. If you Google sin unto death, you get the Gospel Coalition, which I'm not recommending. I don't take their view, but they do break it down into different views in a way that can help you anticipate and deal with these kind of views. Because there's a sin not leading to death and a sin that leads to death, the views are, number one, a believer commits both sins, and the second believer can apostatize or fall away from grace. Number two, an unbeliever can commit both sins. Number three, a believer commits both sins, and God may discipline the second believer with physical death. Number four, a believer commits a sin not leading to death, and an unbeliever commits a sin that leads to death. So the first view is a believer can commit a sin unto death or a sin not unto death. A believer who commits a sin unto death will fall away from grace, apostatize, lose their salvation. The second view is it's only an unbeliever that can commit both sins. The third view is kind of prevalent. Like, it's what I was taught growing up. Like, if you start to live in an unchristian way as a saved individual, then God's going to end your life and bring you home. This isn't as popular as the fourth view, but because there are people who do leave the faith, and don't necessarily their life doesn't necessarily end immediately. So I don't know how that idea is defensible. But you're not going to be able to exegete the passage and come to the fourth conclusion that believers sin sins that are not unto death, but only unbelievers can sin sins unto death. If you want a full breakdown of all these views, again, the article is pretty prevalent. But yeah, I think James 5 and 1 John 5 are completely against the idea of once saved, always saved. And as far as another alternative that people have, it's James wasn't written to Christians. Therefore, early Jewish Christians, the mid-dispensationalist view, they say, yeah, they could fall from grace, but Christians today can't fall from grace, which is wild. One last thing. The best way to understand a sin unto death is a sin that someone continues in knowing it's sin that they failed to repent of. I want to say Guy N. Woods has a pretty interesting syllogism in his Gospel Advocate commentary on 1 John 5, but I'll have to double check and make sure. One time in a Bible study, I tried to quote that syllogism, and I misquoted it, and I got someone complaining about it later, and didn't feel the need to correct myself. But I have to go to the original source before I see how he makes his argument.